What's up, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? It's your boy Trey Larkins with the Wise Guys Sports Show. Everybody gonna follow Wise Guys on Twitter at Wise Guys underscore H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. Go and follow Wise Guys Sports on Instagram as well. These guys know sports, and also on TikTok as well for all the latest in sports news. My takes on NBA, NFL, various topics. A couple things I want to get into this afternoon. It is Wednesday, February the 4th. We are literally 4 days away from the Super Bowl matchup between the Patriots and the Seahawks. So I'm going to get into that here shortly. But before that, I want to talk some NBA and talk about these NBA trades, some of the big trades that have taken place in the NBA. The Celtics and Bulls both made a trade. Vucic is now a part of the Celtics. The Celtics traded away Anthony Simons to the Bulls. That's one of the marquee trades. The Jazz traded for Jaren Jackson. That was a big trade that took place yesterday. And obviously, probably the biggest trade so far at the trading deadline is the trade that went down last night between the Clippers and the Cavs as the Cavaliers traded away Darius Garland in exchange for James Harden. So James Harden is headed to Cleveland. Darius Garland is headed to LA to team up with Kawhi. And Harden is in Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell and so forth. And that's probably the biggest trade so far at the NBA trading deadline. We still don't know whether or not Giannis will be dealt away in a trade by the Milwaukee Bucks as well. So that's something else to be on the lookout for. But I want to talk about this trade between the Cavaliers and the Clippers. Obviously, yesterday, the Cleveland Cavaliers traded for James Harden, and Darius Garland was a part of that deal. So Darius Garland is headed to Los Angeles to play with the Clippers, and Harden is headed to Cleveland to play with Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Give me y'all take, though. What y'all think? I'm going to get my perspective here shortly. But which team do y'all believe won at the NBA trading deadline? Like, who do y'all think had the best move? But I want to start off with this Cavaliers Clippers exchange with Garland and Harden. First, let's start off with the Cleveland Cavaliers acquiring James Harden. So, James Harden is now a part of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I believe the Cavaliers have a 2-year window with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, and we are going to see if they can reach an NBA Finals. But my thought process on it was when I first heard that the Cavaliers were interested in James Harden's services, my immediate thoughts were James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, they don't fit together because both players have to have the basketball in their hands to be productive. And so I was thinking, like, that doesn't make any sense. And so it was multiple reasons why it didn't make sense to me. Number one, I don't feel like James Harden and Donovan Mitchell can play together because both players need the ball in their hands to be effective. But James Harden, especially in the second half of his career, he is more of a point guard than a two guard now. Like, I think James Harden's a point guard more than the shooting guard now at this juncture in his career. So I do believe James Harden, now that he's more of a point guard, can be successful with Donovan Mitchell. Like, I thought, because remember, Monday night we heard about the Cavs and the Cavaliers talking about making a trade together and how Garland and Harden was a part of that trade. And so Monday night, my thought process was that trade would not make sense because Mitchell and Harden don't fit together because both players need the basketball in their hands to be effective. I slept on it. And I woke up Tuesday, the day the trade actually went down, and I thought about it and I was thinking, Harden can be effective alongside Donovan Mitchell because Harden at this juncture in his career is now more of a point guard than a shooting guard. So we've seen him make this transition once he got to Brooklyn. And when he was playing alongside Kyrie, I thought Kyrie was more like the two guard and James Harden was the point guard. And so I thought about it yesterday specifically, and I was like, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell can coexist together on the court because James Harden is now more of a point guard, and of course Donovan Mitchell is your shooting guard / two guard. But do I believe they are going to make the NBA Finals? Absolutely not. And I actually feel like even though James Harden is one of the greatest two guards in NBA history, and he's one of the most gifted scorers in NBA history, James Harden is a choke artist. We have seen this movie before with James Harden. And that's why I was thinking, I understand the Cavaliers are frustrated because the Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland experiment did not work out because of Darius Garland's inability to stay healthy. I understand the Cavaliers front office being frustrated because Garland cannot stay healthy. So they pretty much accepted their fate and said, we are not going to be able to compete for a championship with Garland and Mitchell, so we have to pivot. I understand what the Cavaliers are doing. I just don't think it's going to work with James Harden because we have seen this movie before with James Harden. We have seen it. James Harden is a choke artist in the playoffs. And the worst part about it is, not only does he choke in the playoffs, he gives the impression like he's ready for the offseason to begin. Like, there's been moments where I have flat out watched James Harden quit in playoff games. Like, quit. And I'm like, what the hell was going on here? Dating back to his days as a Houston Rocket, James Harden has had countless meltdown after meltdown after meltdown in the postseason. And yet, here, the Cleveland Cavaliers front office, here they are trying to convince themselves that they can actually change James Harden. You can't change the name on the back of the jersey. James Harden just changed the name on the front of his jersey, but he is the same player who has melted down time after time after time. We've seen this movie before. We have seen James Harden come up small in playoff moments in Houston. We've seen James Harden come up small in playoff moments in Brooklyn. We've seen James Harden come up small in playoff moments in Philly. We've seen James Harden come up small in playoff moments with the Clippers. So there's nothing that's going to change with James Harden going from LA to Cleveland. The name on the back of the jersey will remain the same. The only difference is the name on the front of the jersey. But we are going to get the same results in April when it comes to James Harden playoff performances. And I guarantee you, Cavaliers fans, they already know how this movie is going to end. I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I got questions about Evan Mobley. Now, I will say this about James Harden. I do think James Harden will elevate Evan Mobley and Jared Allen because I believe James Harden is a great facilitator, and all these players have benefited from playing with James Harden. We saw it with Dwight Howard. We saw it with Joel Embiid. We saw it with Zubats. Frontline players, specifically forwards and centers, they do score at an elite level with James Harden as their point guard. So I do expect Evan Mobley and Jared Allen to be effective because of James Harden's ability to be a facilitator. Let me be very clear about that. Because I do believe James Harden is a better playmaker than Donovan Mitchell is. I think Donovan Mitchell is a better scorer at this point in his career compared to where James Harden is at in his career, but I believe Harden's a better playmaker. And I think James Harden will get Evan Mobley and Allen the basketball around the rim, and he was a great facilitator. James Harden is one of the best passers in the NBA. But again, do I believe the Cavaliers are going to win the Eastern Conference and make the NBA Finals? Absolutely not. The coach will indeed have to stagger Harden and Mitchell's minutes. James Harden, Darius Garland. Yes, James Harden's a better. Yes, James Harden, from a career standpoint, is a better player than Darius Garland. Duh. But James Harden is a playoff choke artist. So much so, he is a elite playoff choker at this point. James Harden is a professional elite playoff choker as a basketball player. That is a fact. But from a career standpoint, of course, James Harden has had a better career than Darius Garland. But I think if I were the Cavaliers, I would have rolled the dice with Darius Garland and just pray that somehow he can get close to 100% as possible than to trade for James Harden. Because I know how James Harden is going to perform in the playoffs. And I think Darius Garland, he's not a better player than James Harden. But I think Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, I think they have a higher ceiling than James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. I do. Because I've seen this movie before with James Harden and his terrible playoff performances. I've seen it. I don't have to see it again. I don't. Now, when it comes to the Clippers, if Darius Garland can be healthy, I like Darius Garland, Kawhi Leonard, and Garland being coached by Ty Lue. I like that. I like that with the Clippers. I really, really do. I like Darius Garland's upside. I think the kid can play. I really do. Remember, Darius Garland, when he came to Cleveland, Darius Garland basically replaced Colin Sexton. Remember, the Cavaliers used to have Colin Sexton, and Garland was an upgrade over Sexton. I like Garland. Garland is just injury prone. But I think if Garland can be healthy, I like Darius Garland alongside Kawhi Leonard with the Clippers, and Garland being coached by a former point guard in Ty Lue. I think Ty Lue is one of the best NBA coaches in the game. So we'll see how that works out for the Clippers. But I do think Garland can have some success with the LA Clippers as their point guard. I do. And James Harden was talking about last night how he wanted to give the Clippers a chance to be able to rebuild. That's BS. James Harden wanted a new contract from the Clippers. They weren't interested in probably discussing a new contract extension for James Harden. And James Harden ultimately wanted out of LA. Let's be clear about that. Let's be clear. I don't want to hear nothing about James Harden was trying to help out the LA Clippers. Cut the bullshit. James Harden wanted a new contract from the Clippers. The Clippers were not interested in giving James Harden a new contract extension. And James Harden ultimately wanted out of LA. And now he's in Cleveland. But again, when it comes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I personally do not believe the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to make the NBA Finals. Hell, I still don't even know if they're going to make the Eastern Conference Finals, for that matter. I don't. Like, I think the Pistons are better than the Cavaliers right now. I think the Celtics are better than the Cavaliers right now. I think the Knicks are slightly better than the Cavaliers are right now. I just don't believe in James Harden in the postseason. I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is a elite scorer, and I think Donovan Mitchell is big time. But Donovan Mitchell is going to need somebody else to come alongside that ride for the Cavaliers to reach their potential and make it to an Eastern Conference Finals. And I just don't see James Harden being that guy to do it. So those are my thoughts on James Harden going to the Cavaliers. But when LeBron takes that pay cut and heads to Cleveland in the offseason, then what? Championship? Possibly. I do think LeBron will make the Cavaliers better. It's so crazy because I think the Cavaliers could use LeBron right now. Right now, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers could use LeBron James. because for some reason they decided to trade Hunter. Hunter was their former small forward that they had. Remember last year the Cavaliers traded for Hunter. Hunter was previously with the Atlanta Hawks, and the Cavaliers traded for Hunter only to trade him a year later. So I do think LeBron can help the Cavaliers right now. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting. But this year, I don't see the Cavaliers being a legitimate contender in the Eastern Conference. I think the Pistons are better than the Cavaliers. I think the Celtics are better than the Cavaliers. And I think the Knicks are slightly better than the Cavaliers. And that's saying a lot because I really don't believe in the Knicks. I don't believe in the New York Knicks like that. But I damn My bad, y'all. I had some little technical difficulties, but I'm back here. Wise Guys Sports. Your boy Trey Larkins on here discussing the NBA trading deadline and this Super Bowl matchup between the Seahawks and Patriots. But let's get back to some NBA. I was talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers trading for James Harden and my thoughts. Let me reiterate my thoughts about that trade. I believe James Harden is going to make Jared Allen and Evan Mobley better players. because I think James Harden's a great facilitator. I think that the same way we've seen James Harden elevate Joel Embiid, Zubac, I believe he's going to do the same with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, because I think James Harden's a great passer. That's the thing. Like, James Harden is one of the best passers in the NBA. And at this juncture of his career, he's a better point guard than shooting guard. And so I do believe James Harden and Donovan Mitchell can coexist. Let me go back, because when I first heard about the Cavaliers being interested in James Harden's services, Monday night I went to bed thinking James Harden and Donovan Mitchell, they don't fit together. But Tuesday, waking up after sleeping on it, I started to think James Harden's more of a point guard now at this juncture of his career. So I do believe Harden and Mitchell can coexist, because Harden's more of a point guard now. But the reason why I feel like the Cavaliers did not upgrade and did not increase their chances at being able to win the Eastern Conference is because I don't believe in James Harden in the postseason. And I've seen time and time and time and time again where James Harden has came up small in the playoffs. We've seen it in Houston. Then he went to Brooklyn, and him and KD couldn't beat Giannis and Middleton. And then he went from Brooklyn to Philadelphia, and in Philly, the Sixers had a game 7 in Boston, and James Harden was a complete no-show in that game 7 for the Philadelphia 76ers. We've seen James Harden leave Philly. He goes to LA, and last year in game 7, Clippers were in Denver. It was the Clippers, Nuggets, first round of the Western Conference playoffs, and James Harden came up small yet again for the LA Clippers last year in game 7 in Denver. So we have seen time and time and time and time again where James Harden has came up small in big moments in the playoffs. And not only does he come up small, it's almost as if he gives the impression like he doesn't even want to be there. Like he's ready for summer vacation. Like, let's get this over with. I'm ready to move on. Let's move forward. I don't give a damn. That's how he performs in big playoff moments. So that's why I don't believe the Cavaliers are going to be real contenders in the East, because I don't believe in James Harden as a playoff performer. I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is a tremendous scorer. I think Donovan Mitchell needs to make a conference finals, though, because that's the thing about Donovan Mitchell. I love Donovan Mitchell. I do. I think Donovan Mitchell is one of the more elite players that we have in the NBA. I think Donovan Mitchell is very talented, and I think Donovan Mitchell can win an NBA championship. But this brother ain't been to a conference finals yet in his career. He hasn't. I love Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell was a baller for the Utah Jazz, and he's been balling since he's been a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But Donovan Mitchell does not have a conference finals appearance on his resume. Forget about NBA finals appearance. He doesn't even have a conference finals appearance on his resume. We've seen Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum get over the hump and reach an NBA finals. We've seen Tyrese Halliburton reach an NBA finals. We've seen Ant-Man even reach a conference finals. We have not seen Donovan Mitchell play in a conference finals yet so far in his career. And I think Donovan Mitchell is an elite scorer, and I think he's a really, really good player. I don't think he's a superstar. I think he has superstar potential, but in order for him to be a superstar, I need Donovan Mitchell to at least reach a conference finals. And we have not seen that so far in his career. But I think the Cavaliers will be a playoff team, obviously. But if I was the Cavaliers, I would have rolled the dice and just pray and prayed that Darius Garland could have at some point got close to being 100%. Because I don't think James Harden upgrades their basketball team or gives them a better chance to be able to make it to the conference finals, let alone an NBA finals. But those are my thoughts on James Harden going to the Cavaliers. Again, I like Darius Garland going to the Clippers. I think Darius Garland will learn a lot being coached by Ty Lue. And if Garland can stay healthy, I do think Garland can be a solid, consistent contributor on the LA Clippers. Garland, Kawhi, and Zubats, though, that's not enough to compete in the Western Conference. But I do believe that the Clippers will be a playoff team, and I like Garland as a point guard. I think he can score the basketball at an elite level. I think Garland has great ability to be a decent playmaker, but I like Darius Garland. I really, really do. But as far as these trades in the NBA, I think the biggest winner were the Utah Jazz, honestly. I like the Utah Jazz trading for Jaren Jackson. I like that front court of Jaren Jackson, Laurie Markington, and Kobe Kessler. I like that front court. I really, really do. I think I think I think Markland is a really, really good front court player. I like Jackson as a rebounder. So I like their front court. And we know who's leading the charge in Utah. It's Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is a great talent evaluator. So I think the Utah Jazz are headed in the right direction as an NBA franchise. That trade for Jaren Jackson makes them a better basketball team. And I like that front court of Marketing, Jackson, and Kessler. I really, really do. I like that. I like that. I like the Celtics trading for Vucevic. I like that because I think Vucevic is similar to Kristaps Porzingis. He can be a stretch five, can hit perimeter shots. He's a great player who can fit in a Joe Mazzulla system. So I like that for the Celtics. I think the Celtics, they're always making moves to be better, but that trio of Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, once he returns back to the floor, and Vucevic, that's a nice trio. It really, really is. I hate that the Celtics had to give up Simons because I thought Simons was balling. I thought Simons was balling off the bench for the Celtics. But you still got Peyton Pritchard. You got Jaylen Brown, who's having a great season. Tatum possibly will be back this year. I'm not so sure if he's going to come back. Sometimes it takes guys at least a whole year to come back from a torn Achilles. But I think the Celtics trading for Vucevic was a huge move. Huge move. I think Vucevic is similar to Kristaps Porzingis, and I think he's going to fit in that Joe Mazzulla system as a stretch five. Because in that Joe Mazzulla system, as a big man, you have to be able to shoot. You got to be able to shoot. And Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis both could hit perimeter shots, and that's exactly what Vucevic brings to the table with the Celtics now. But Simons now, he's with the Bulls. I think the Bulls made some other moves earlier today as well. It's still going to be interesting to see if the Bucks decide to trade Giannis. We're hearing so many teams being interested in Giannis services. And I was thinking about that too, like which team gives Giannis the best chance at championship number 2? And I got to be honest, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves gives Giannis the best opportunity to win championship number 2. And let me tell y'all why. I think the Timberwolves also have the players and picks to give the Bucks in exchange for Giannis. If you are the Minnesota Timberwolves You got Nas Reed and Julius Randle. But if you trade for Giannis, you don't need all three. So I think the Timberwolves can trade Julius Randle with some draft picks and a few other players in exchange for Giannis. And I think you can keep Nas Reed coming off the bench. So I like that move. So Giannis with Ant-Man, that's a real duo. That's a legitimate NBA duo who can win an NBA championship together. Giannis and Ant-Man, I love that for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I really, really do. So everybody talking about, well, where's the best move for Giannis? Or who gives Giannis the best chance to compete for an NBA championship? I believe it's the Minnesota Timberwolves because the Minnesota Timberwolves have Nas Reed and Julius Randle. And Julius Randle and Giannis can't play together. They can't be on the floor at the same time. So Julius Randle can be a part of a trade package for the Timberwolves to get Giannis to Minnesota. And I think that would help the Bucks as well because Randle can score the basketball and be a good player for the Milwaukee Bucks and Doc Rivers. But I think Giannis, if he goes to Minnesota, the Timberwolves gives Giannis a better opportunity to win championship number 2 than even the Warriors. I do think Giannis and Steph would be box office, and it would be great to watch. That would be must-see TV because Giannis and Steph complement each other. They really, really do. Like, Giannis and Steph are the complete opposite of players, but they complement each other very well. But I think the Warriors in a tough Western Conference, I don't know if Giannis and Steph will be enough to beat the Denver Nuggets or the Houston Rockets or OKC in a 7-game series. But I do believe if Giannis goes to Minnesota and you got Giannis, Ant-Man, DiVincenzo, Gobert, and Nas Reed coming off the bench, I do believe that team will be formidable and can compete against the OKC Thunder in the Western Conference. So, like, it's going to be interesting to see if Giannis gets traded by tomorrow's trading deadline. But I do believe that the Timberwolves give him a better opportunity to be able to win championship number 2. And I think Ant-Man and Giannis, that would easily be a top 5 NBA duo if they were to come together. Let me say that again. If Giannis gets traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, Giannis and Ant-Man, they are easily a top 5 duo in the league. Maybe top 3. They will be in that conversation with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. So that's something to keep an eye out for and be on the lookout for. But let's talk some NFL. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. As we all know, Super Bowl Sunday is approaching fast. And the matchup is the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. And so I have not made my prediction yet on who is going to win the Super Bowl. But if y'all have been following me over the last few weeks, by the way, go and follow Wise Guy Sports on all social media platforms. That's Trey Larkins, Wise Guy Sports on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Go and follow Wise Guy Sports. But when it comes to the Super Bowl, right, I want to talk about the New England Patriots. Let's talk about the pros and how I feel about the Patriots. I like Mike Vrabel as their head coach. I think Mike Vrabel is one of the best NFL head coaches in the league. I like the Patriots organization. I think Robert Kraft is a great owner. I think the Patriots organization is a great organization, and they are a winning organization. I think Drake May was a legitimate NFL MVP candidate this season, and I thought Drake May had a tremendous sophomore season as an NFL quarterback. But I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I personally do not believe in the New England Patriots. I think the New England Patriots have had a cakewalk to the Super Bowl. I think this has been one of the easiest paths to the Super Bowl in NFL history. The New England Patriots, they finished the season 14-3. They won the AFC East, and they, at one point in the regular season, they were on a 10-game winning streak, right? 8 of those 10 teams that they beat on their 10-game winning streak were non-playoff teams. The only 2 teams that they beat on their 10-game winning streak that were playoff teams were the Carolina Panthers and the Buffalo Bills. Those were the only 2 teams that the New England Patriots beat on their 10-game winning streak that they went on during the regular season. And so I said it then, I said it once the playoffs started, and I said it after the AFC Championship game. The New England Patriots, specifically in the regular season, let's talk about that. That 10-game winning streak that they went on was so overrated. It was significantly overrated. And the thing is about the Patriots, they had the easiest schedule in NFL history since the 1999 St. Louis Rams. Go look it up. The easiest schedule in NFL history since the 1999 St. Louis Rams. On their 10-game winning streak that they went on during the season, 8 of the 10 teams that they beat were not playoff teams. So they did not beat anybody significant in the regular season besides the Buffalo Bills. On top of that, in the playoffs, they beat a Chargers team that had a banged up offensive line. The Chargers did not have either of their starting offensive tackles in Slater or Alt. And Justin Herbert was basically running for his life in that game. He was running around for his life. And that Chargers offensive line was significantly banged up. We fast forward to the AFC divisional round matchup against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans came into that game without Nico Collins. They also lost Dalton Schultz in that game. And C.J. Stroud became a turnover machine. I mean, C.J. Stroud was turning the ball over left and right, throwing interceptions, fumbling the football. And even in that game, Drake May had multiple turnovers in that game. And if the Texans had competent production at the quarterback position, I think the Texans beat the Patriots. Silly me. I believe if the Houston Texans had competent production at the quarterback position, they would have beat the Patriots in the divisional round of the AFC playoffs. So I thought the Patriots lucked up in the divisional round as well, because the Texans, they did not have either of their top 2 targets in Nico Collins or Dalton Schultz, and C.J. Stroud turned into a turnover machine in that football game. And then we fast forward to the AFC Championship game. They go up against a Denver Broncos team who doesn't have their starting quarterback in Bo Nix. They started a quarterback in Jarrett Stidham, and Stidham had not thrown an NFL pass as a quarterback in a game in 2 years. It's been 2 years since Jarrett Stidham threw a pass as a quarterback in an NFL game. And so in that game, I thought the Broncos outplayed the Patriots in the first quarter. And then I thought the turning point in that game was when the Broncos decided to go for it. It was 4th and 1. They were, I believe, inside the Patriots 30-yard line. And I think that flipped the game. Like, I thought Sean Payton should have took the points. And I thought the Broncos should have went up 10-0 over the Patriots. I thought the Patriots were dead to rights in that first quarter. And I thought the Broncos defense had pretty much controlled that game in the first half, but I thought Sean Payton made a huge mistake going for it on fourth down. I think he should have taken the points, and the Broncos should have went up 10-0 over the Patriots. But nevertheless, the Patriots also lucked up because in the second half of the AFC Championship game, it was a blizzard. It was a blizzard. And to Mike Vrabel's credit, Mike Vrabel actually took the 3 points when the Patriots had a field goal opportunity, unlike Sean Payton. And those 3 points ended up being the difference in the AFC Championship game. The Patriots beat the Broncos 10-7, folks. They beat them 10-7. They beat them 10-7. And so for me, I'm looking at the Patriots cakewalk to the Super Bowl. They beat a banged-up Chargers team who did not have neither of their starting tackles. They beat a Texas team who did not have either of their top 2 targets in Nico Collins or Dalton Schultz. And then in the AFC Championship game, they beat a Denver Broncos team who did not have their starting quarterback in Bo Nix. And it became a blizzard in the second half of the AFC Championship game, a game in which the Patriots already had a 3-point lead. They had a 10-7 lead in the fourth quarter, and it became very clear that Mike Vrabel knew his team was not going to score any more points in that game. And he knew that they were going to have to win that game with their defense, which they did. To their credit, they did, which that's another thing that's crazy. To me, in the AFC Championship game, Drake May never put together a long, extended drive to put points up on the board for the New England Patriots in that game. That touchdown that Patriots scored in that game, that touchdown came off of that Stidham fumble. Well, I think the Patriots, they recovered it, and it should have been a touchdown. Honestly, it should have been a scoop and score, but they ruled the player down, whatever. But in that game, the only touchdown that the Patriots scored was off of a Stidham fumble. So that, to me, tells me that Drake May and the New England Patriots, they have lucked up on their Super Bowl run. Simple as that. It's simple. They had the easiest schedule in the NFL since the 1999 St. Louis Rams. During their 10-game winning streak, 8 of the 10 teams that they beat were non-playoff teams. They were not playoff teams. And then in the AFC playoffs, they beat a Chargers team without their starting tackles in Alt and Slater. They beat a Texas team that did not have Nico Collins or Dalton Schultz. And C.J. Stroud became a turnover machine. And then in the AFC Championship game, Stidham actually had a chance to beat them in the AFC Championship game. But even in that game, Drake May, his only touchdown in that game came on a Stidham fumble. The Patriots didn't put up a great offensive performance in the AFC Championship game. They lucked up because of Stidham's fumble and the fact that Sean Payton did not take the 3 points that were available to him in the first half when the Broncos were ahead 7-0 and had the Patriots essentially on the ropes. And that's why the Patriots are in the Super Bowl and they are representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. I'm just not a believer in the New England Patriots. I believe in Mike Vrabel. I really do. I believe in Mike Vrabel. But I watched that AFC Championship game start to finish, and Drake May did not impress me. The Patriots, as a football team, did not impress me whatsoever. And I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to dismantle the New England Patriots Sunday. Let me be very clear and say that again for the folks in the back and scream to all those Patriots fans up there in Boston. The Seattle Seahawks are going to dismantle the New England Patriots Sunday evening in San Francisco. This is a mismatch, and I believe the Seattle Seahawks are a significantly better football team than the New England Patriots are. Drake May did not have one great drive in the AFC Championship game. His only touchdown came off of a Stidham fumble when they were already inside the Broncos' 30-yard line. So, no, I'm not impressed with the New England Patriots. I think the Seahawks are going to beat the Patriots on Sunday, and I think the Seahawks are going to dominate the Patriots Sunday evening in this Super Bowl. But go and follow Wise Guy Sports on all social media platforms. I'm Trey Larkins signing off. I'll be back on and talk some more football and basketball with y'all probably tomorrow sometime. It is Wednesday, February the 4th. It's your boy Trey Larkins. Go and follow Wise Guy Sports on all social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Go and subscribe to the Wise Guy Sports page. All my latest videos are on Wise Guy Sports. And don't forget, next week, I will be interviewing Lakota East running back, Ryder Hooks. He is committed to EKU. He is a running back for the Lakota East. He will be on Wise Guy Sports. So definitely come in and check out that interview with me and Ryder Hooks. He is the running back for Lakota East. He is committed and will be heading to EKU to be their running back next season. He's going to be on Wise Guy Sports next week. He a beast. He was a dog at the running back position for Lakota East this past year. Played both ways, but was a stud at the running back position. He will be on Wise Guy Sports next week. But I'm Trey Larkins signing off. Y'all enjoy y'all Wednesday evening.